Well, today, this is Grandpa Shart coming at you live again with Grandma Shart right behind the camera, giving me all my cues and giving me all my nods and my giggles. Now, there's a new kid starting our little country school this week, and the teacher asked him what his name was, and he said, "My name's Dammit Jones." And she said, "Your name ain't no Dammit Jones." And said, "That might be a nickname, but that ain't your real name." He said, "No, I'm telling you, my name's Dammit Jones. You can call my mama and ask her." So she called the boy's mama and they said, "Yeah, he's not playing. His name is Dammit Jones." Said, "It's okay. We gave him the name." So one day the principal was walking down the hallway going to check on how all the classes was doing. And the teacher was just as proud as she could be, and she called them in her room and she asked a question, and everybody raised their hands, and she told Dammit, she said, "Dammit, put your hand down." Said, "You know you don't know the answer to this question." And the principal said, "Well, hell, give him a chance." But anyway, today we're going to talk about a little bit more about spring gardening, and then we're going to get into the fall stuff. What you need to be doing to prepare your soil over the winter. Now, to begin with, I told you from the get-go, I'm in the middle of this natural and regular garden. There's two schools of thought on it. Like I said, and I'm in the middle. Now, I think you got to take vitamins to stay healthy, but I also believe you got to take your medicine to stay healthy. And that's the same way what I believe in nature. There's three different kinds of seed. You got heirloom seed, which is open pollinated seed. That means you can plant it, you can save your seed and plant it every year. You don't never have to rebuy your seed. You just pick your seed out from the biggest, finest plants you got, and that's what you use. You got a hybrid seed, which is a mixed between two plants to get a desired plant. And like if you got one plant that's drought resistant, and you got another plant that's that grows a real sweet fruit, and you want to mix it, and you got a real sweet vegetable that is also drought resistant. But the thing about it is, when you replant it, if you save your seeds, it's not going to produce any vegetables. It's just going to be the plant, unless it's a tomato. Now, a tomato, that's where cherry tomatoes come from. If you replant a hybrid tomato seed, it will make a tomato, but they'll be little bitty cherry tomatoes. But now on the heirloom seed, open pollinated seeds, you'll get the same big tomato. And then you got GMO seeds, and I don't know much about them. I don't like them. GMO seeds means genetically modified. That means they went in there and tinkered with God's design. And I'm not with it. I'm not for it. I'm not going to. If I know it's GMO, I'm not going to eat it. You don't tinker with God's design and get away with it. So no, I'm not for it at all, and I'm not going to talk about it any other than to say I wouldn't plant no GMOs. But I will plant hybrid and open pollinated. I plant mostly open pollinated. Now the thing about open pollinated is, if you're going to save your seeds and you're going to have an all open pollinated garden, you need to look up on the internet what's kin to what. Because, like say you planted sweet corn, field corn together. Well, if they're both open pollinated, you save the seeds next year, guess what? Your field corn's going to be a little sweet, and your sweet corn's going to be a little bit not sweet. And you don't want that. So you plant them kind of away from each other, and that way they don't mix. Now, another thing you could do, like if a lot of these areas of the country, the bee population has been hit especially hard from bee mites and different things, different kinds of diseases. What you can do, if you're worried that your bee population is real low, is on stuff like tomatoes that makes a flower, tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, stuff like that makes a flower bloom. You can take a Q-tip and you can go in and out of each one of those if you got time. If you got time now, you got a big old garden, you probably can't, but if you just got a few plants outside, you can take a little Q-tip and put it in each one of those tomato blooms, and then throw that one away, and then get you another Q-tip, put it in all these pepper blooms, and it'll pollinate just like bees will. Be sure you wear your little bee costume when you're out there. Not the kinky one you and your husband got together, but the normal one you can be out in public with. Yeah, Grandpa Shart, a little weird, I know. But anyway, so you can self-pollinate some stuff. Your seed depth needs to be 3 times the depth of your seed. Now for carrots, mustard seed, and tomatoes and stuff like that, it's got real little bitty seed. What you can do is you can plant it. You can kind of spread it out over a little area and take you a rake and kind of rake over it back and forth just a little bit, just a hair, just enough to cover up the seeds. And that's good enough. Now peas, corn, stuff like that, you put on a roll. You won't take your hole and turn it sideways and make you a little, what you call a trough through there. A little ditch down through there, and then put your pea seed, plant your pea seed in there. You know, every few inches, plant you a couple pea seeds or corn seeds. I usually plant my peas and corn together because the peas are a legume. That means the roots have little nodules on it, and they make nitrogen. And corn, favorite food is nitrogen. Corn loves nitrogen. Peas and beans and stuff like that, legume plants, make the hell out of it. So, you know, you plant them two together. Now, the Indians used to plant what they call 3 sisters together. They plant peas and beans, peas or beans, corn, and squash together. They call them 3 sisters. The squash would make big leaves, and they would, you know, it'd shade the ground, keep it moist, keep the grass down. The pea, of course, or the bean would produce nitrogen for the corn. And the corn would provide something for the pea and bean to grow up. They called them the 3 sisters. I wouldn't do that because it's too hard to pick. I'm too dang lazy to spend all that time in that corn row doing all that picking. But I'm not gonna put no squash in there. It'd be too crowded for me, but you can do what you want to. But I usually do plant my peas and beans with my corn. But anyway, you just plant on stuff like that, on peas, corn, beans, stuff like that. You just take your hole and turn it up sideways, make you a little trench down through there, and then plant your peas and corn every few inches. Now, on the watermelons, cucumbers, pumpkins, cantaloupes, melons, what you do, now, they need a lot of room. You gotta think, these things are vines. They need a lot of room. You don't need to plant like everything else. You need to plant in a wide open area. What you do is you make little mounds of soil with your hole, say a mound about that high, and then right in the middle of that mound, you kind of flatten it out and make you a little indention right there, and put you about 3 seeds in and cover it up and then pack it. Also, whenever you plant seeds, period, you want to set with a little bitty seeds like mustard seed, like I was talking about, carrot seed, stuff you just rake over. You ain't got to pack that, but like if you're digging a little trench, you need to pack it, okay? Now, let's see here. Let me see what I got to go over. Let's see. All right, we're going to go to fall gardening now, okay? Now, fall gardening, if you want your soil right, when you go down there to plant it in the spring again, you want to test your soil with a kit from Co-op or the your ag extension service, your local co-op or your local ag extension service. You need to see what it's lacking. Mainly, you need to see how acidic it is. Because here's the deal with acid. A lot of nutrients are in the soil, but they stick to the acid particles, and they're stuck to them. And it's like the plants having a can of beans with no can opener. It can't break it down to get to it. So you don't want your soil too acidic. So what you want to do is in the fall, and plus you're not getting the most bang for your buck when you fertilize if it's too acidic, because the minerals are sticking to the acid particles. So what you want to do is get you some soil samples and get you a test kit, like from co-op or your local ag extension office, and test it and just see. Get you a good kit and test it and see exactly about where your acidic level is. Now, 7's perfect, but I don't want to, if it's a 6 or 6.5, I'm happy. Because if you get it too basic, you're going to have more problems you did than when it was too acidic. So I usually try to hang my acidic level down to about 6 or 6.5. That's good enough. And this is, I'm going to show you a picture of how you want to, how you do your acid test. What you do is you take you get you a little soil sample about 3 inches deep from different areas of your garden. And say like your garden was this square. You see those little circles I got? That's a good cross testing of where you can tell pretty well what your soil level is going to be on the whole area. So you got one right here, one in the middle, a couple over here, and then a couple down here. And that ought to give you a really, really good idea. And then you kind of put it together, and then you test it. And depending on what kind of soil you have, whether it's a clay soil or a loamy soil, there's 3 types of soil. You got sand, silt, and clay. Depending on what you got, and your ag extension service or your local co-op will help you on this. Depending on what kind of soil you got, it depends on how much lime you want to put on it. Now, normally people put 1 to 2 tons an acre. An acre is 43,560 square feet. You can measure your garden and kind of do a little math and figure out, okay, what's this in retrospect to an acre? And how much lime do I need to put in retrospect to an acre? And your local ag extension office or your local co-op should have somebody there that can help you. If they don't, they need to close the place. If you can't get no help with this at co-op and that especially the ag extension or service where you live, then they got problems. But anyway, that's Grandpa Shart's opinion anyway. So you put your lime down and you go ahead and you till it under so the sun don't rob you blind. You do this in the fall after you harvest everything. And another thing you might want to do after you harvest everything is you take your plants. Like I said, I'm on both sides of the spectrum with the natural and the unnatural, whatever you want to call it. You can take your plants, you can dig you a trench down through there, and put your corn, stalks and stuff, and the pea vines and stuff in trenches in the soil. And put you some lime on top of it, or some fertilizer, just regular old fertilizer on top of it, and water it down real good, and then bury it. Guess what? Next spring, it'll be returned to the soil. You'll have you some good organic matter. Another thing you want to do is you want to plant a cover crop. If you don't, the sun's going to rob you blind in there in the wintertime. put your cover crop, and guess what your best thing to put? A legume, clover, peas, any kind of legume, lespedeza, and about a month before you plant next year, till it under. Let it sit a whole month. You talking about some nitrogen-filled soil. You're going to have it, buddy. And it's going to tell when you in your growing season. You're going to be able to tell it in your growing season. Your neighbors are going to be coming over asking, what in the heck are you doing that they're not? Let's see here. See if I covered everything. That seems to be about it. Like I said, man, the fall, preparing the soil for the spring and the fall is just as important as everything you do in the spring with the fertilizing and keeping the bugs out and everything. Now, potatoes, like I said, I forgot, when you plant potatoes in the spring, that's one of those crops that has a big old seed. Because what you do is, you get you some seed potatoes, like at your local hardware store or local plant store, and you cut the eyes out of them. You cut the eyes out of the potato, and you ain't got to get it perfect, but you just cut the eye out. You put the eye on top when you put the potato down in the soil. Now they're gonna have to be about that deep. It's gonna have to be about that deep, because you think that the eye you cut out is gonna be about that big. So 3 times that big is about like that. It's gonna have to be pretty deep. You want to put it in a pretty good trench. And then you put a layer of hay on top of it. This holds the moisture in there. And this also helps that eye to come on up. And then put a big mound of soil on top of it. Now you'll sit there and sit there and sit there, and them potatoes won't never come up, won't never come up, won't never come up, and you'll be thinking, hell, they ain't gonna come up. I might as well just till that up and plant something else. Be patient. They'll come up. One day you'll walk out there and they'll be up. It might take them a dang month, but they'll come up. It might take them a little bit more than a month, but they'll come up. The main thing you got to worry about with these dang potatoes is those doggone Colorado potato beetles, and you better have plant A, B, and C to combat them little boogers when they come, because if you plant potatoes, they're coming, and they're tough to kill. A few of them will get on tomatoes, but they don't really fool with tomatoes that much. They'll get on a tomato, but they won't hurt them that bad. They just don't like them, eat them tomatoes like they do potatoes. So, like I said, have you plant A, B, and C, because some suckers are coming and they tough. But anyway, that's all I got to say today. Tune in a few days, and we're going to talk about yard health, and we're going to talk about how to plant trees. And if you got any questions, please leave me a note in the comments, and please like and subscribe. Remember, Jesus in your heart will give you joy. Jesus in your relationship will give you stability. And for all you people that don't like Grandpa Shart, I give you a big honk honk. And all you people that like me, hey, thumbs up. I love every one of you. And here's to my 3 biggest fans. I'd like to give a shout out to Izzy, Olive, and Sam. I'd like to give a shout out to them. They're my 3 biggest fans, and I just want to say I love you all. Grandpa Shart out.